शालू ये क्या चीज है? That black object.
This is the mic.
Oh wow.
Kamal sir and Haleema ma'am, all the best.
I know to you. Our best wishes to you.
Same to you.
Thank you.
मैं तो walk over दे रहा हूँ आप दोनों को.
Some people are asking for the link separately. Is any possibility to give them?
Sorry?
They are asking for the link to join, some of them.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
So how?
I don't know.
Haleema ma'am, ऐसा कर सकते हैं, email से link copy करके we can send through this WhatsApp. Good evening, Sushil sir.
गुड इवनिंग. शालू कितनी बारी बोला हेलो?
सर एक बार नहीं सुना, एक बार भी. Really sorry.
जोर जोर से बोल रहा था, माइक भी ऑन थी, तुम्हारे कान ही बंद थे.
नहीं, सबके बंद थे, सबके.
इतना झगड़ा करती है मेरे साथ.
हाँ, थोड़ा थोड़ा.
Yeah, I think everybody's speakers got switched off.
हाँ ऐसा हुआ कुछ.
Okay, so
for today's session, I'll request Kapil and Anil Goswami to assist us in giving the feedback. And of course, Brigadier Basin, we are looking forward to his thing, not only about the feedback, but also his achievement of being the top 250 motivators. I'm sure he'll spare some time at the end to tell us about it.
Oh my God.
May I request Anil Goswami and Aishi Siddharth to put on your videos so that we can, everybody can see each other?
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you.
Sir, with the, I think we could commence, or do we wait for some more time for people to come?
Comment for?
That's a Anil Goswami, yeah, very tall glass of juice you just knocked down.
Yeah. I am just taking soft drink, not.
मैंने juice ही बोला है.
Yes. Thank you. I just finished my dinner, so No.
हमें तो डिनर भी इसके बाद ही नसीब हुआ.
आपका फ्लेक्सी टाइमिंग है. You are a global person, 24 hour. Okay. So
I
Thank
think
God
we
you didn't say mechanical person, that you don't need any food and you don't need any sleep.
very international guy. अब आप सक्सेस ज्ञान पे भी यू आर टॉप नोच पे आने वाले हो.
चलो वो मैं आपको बाद में कहानी बताऊंगा इसकी.
so maybe comments then. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we've had 5 weeks of very interesting, exciting talks. Today is the concluding session, and we have very well-established speakers, which I think by design, it was not by design, but then they happened to come in on the concluding day. Our first speaker this evening is Kamal Mehta, a veteran with over 33 years of service in the Indian Army, which includes the 1971 Indo-Pak War and the Kargil operations, 22 years of which we celebrated yesterday. Post-superannuation, he turned entrepreneur. He specializes in corporate recruitment and private security services. He's also a life member of the National HRD Network. Over to you, Kamal sir.
Okay. Thank you, General Malik. The introduction is very fine. Thank you very much for that. But the prelude to the introduction, I would like to give a disclaimer. I'm not an established speaker. Everybody in the audience knows that this is the first time since the TTOT 1 that I'm coming to the stage. And I'm so glad that you've introduced me as the first speaker, because if you had finished the other two speakers before me, then I would have possibly lost interest by then. Thank you very much. Well, now I start off. Friends, last year, I celebrated the golden jubilee of my 19th birthday. I spent a minute to think as to what is age. Age is nothing but the intervening period between two major life events, birth and death. Sadly, both these events we have no control on. So does that mean that we allow this intervening period to drift away? No. I feel life is a book we are sent to write on this planet Earth. Every year that we live and stay back is a wonderful opportunity to add a page in this book of life. Every 365 days, we are given a new blank page. We can make it as happy and as memorable as we want it to be, or we can let it be as sad and morose as we may be willing to recount it later. Life is a dynamic number, ever changing, much like our potential abilities and learning experiences. I correct myself. When I said life in the last sentence, I meant age. Age is a dynamic number, ever changing, much like our potential and learning experiences. Age is also a finite number, but what we can do with it is truly infinite in possibilities. Age is used as a basis to build a social construct that punctuates our life with milestones relatable to some numbers on its spectrum. For example, we finish our studies at the age of 18 or 19. We find a job for ourselves by 21, 22, 23. Get married between 25 and 28. Have babies at the age of 30, and so on and so forth. While some of these milestones may have a biological basis, most of our adulthood parameters and milestones genuinely do not have any. There is no harm being a lifelong student, as many of us are. One can explore entrepreneurship opportunities in his teens and as also when he's 65 plus. One can aspire to make a world record at the age of 15 and maybe finally achieve it at the age of 65 plus. There is no age that defines as to when one can start learning to manage his or her finances better. Question then arises, why age is an often discussed number in our society? One of the reasons, we let our physical appearances and physiological traits determine our behavior and looks in the society. Our social construct has unwritten, unchallenged, and unspoken expectations as regards age-related looks and age-appropriate behavior. Consciously or subconsciously, we try and fit into these defined age-related looks and behavior which the society decides for us. What we are doing in turn, we are conditioning ourselves in alignment with expectations of the society. It is ironical that when good things can happen at any age, when good things that can happen at any age, we are trying to adapt ourselves to the expectations of the society. Once again, when happiness can be created at any age, when good things can happen at any age, why is it that our careers, our jobs, and most importantly, the society does not allow us to seize these opportunities and exploit them? The society rather uses it as a filter. It is high time we challenge this status quo. Allow me to explain how. In the HR world, we are all familiar with the concept of DEI. I will only take on the first alphabet, that is D. D for diversity. The corporates have to a large extent embraced gender diversity, and to a major extent, they have addressed the issue of differently abled and obliquely specially abled. However, we must understand that diversity covers a wide array of things, which includes age, race, ethnicity, the retired and returning workforce, as also the veterans. it's high time that we rally around corporate India to enable them to embrace the age matrix in a beneficial way. Any forward-looking organization can only benefit from the wealth of experience that an aged professional, a retired and returning employee, or a veteran brings to the table for corporate India at large. Here, I must admit that age can also become a sad and sorry number if our mental agilities and the dreams that we nurture are not alignment with our physical fitness, with the physical fitness of our bodies. Age then becomes a list of sorry numbers: blood pressure, cholesterol, sugar, bone density, number of teeth, and so on and so forth. Research has proved, neuroscientists will agree, and specialists in any other field will agree that there is no age restriction or criteria to learn a new skill, to adapt to a new technology, or to take up a new hobby. We must appreciate that a skill or two and a hobby or two are not going to change just because we've added a few more candles to our birthday cake. But all this requires for us to be young in heart, in mind, and also in our bodies, and also to be contemporary with the so-called age. To stay young and contemporary, it requires efforts beyond the social conditioning that we are accustomed to. We have to make a very serious effort. We have to be agile. We have to be in the moment to ensure that we stay forever young and contemporary.
Kamal sir, you have 1 minute to go, please.
Thank you. These days, they say life begins at 40. Or that 50 is the new 40 and 60 is still young. Well, I would say, why count the age in years? Make each of these years count. If age is a number, let us make it count. If it is an irrelevant statistic, let it make an impact bigger than ourselves. And the time to do it is to start now. To conclude in the millennium language, YOLO, Y-O-L-O, you only live once. Let us live life big time our way. Whichever way, whenever we can. Today is the youngest we shall ever be. Also the oldest we have ever been. We are the authors of our book of life. Let us sign each of those pages with a swag and a flourish and leave behind a masterpiece. Age is a number, they say. I say, let us make it a measure of infinite possibilities. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anil Goswami, request you to confine your comments to 2 minutes, please. Please unmute.
I'm sorry. When I joined, I was on dinner. I didn't know. Maybe next part, should I?
Okay, no problem, no problem. Kapil, sir?
I didn't listen probably.
Okay, doesn't matter.
So I was in the kitchen.
Kapil, please.
Sure. I think few words that I jot down when the speech started are too less to speak about what happened in last 10 minutes. I said powerful start, great pauses, a very young revibration. And I find it very difficult to find reasons to give feedback. And I felt that few points where you repeated a sentence, you seem to have faltered a sentence, it was actually looking as planned because it was giving further impact to the naturalness of your speech. So I would say that amazing. You said it was your first speech at this time. Yeah, it could be on this platform, but it certainly showed that you are well rehearsed. What happened? So you were well rehearsed many times, not on this once, but all through. So immensely powerful speech. I find it difficult to give a feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Kapil. Vikram Basin, sir, please.
I can add little. Can I add, sir?
All right, take a minute, please.
Yes, sir. You see, it was very impactful, very well prepared. I agree he has done a lot of rehearsal also. Only thing I would like to say his frame, so he can be little more, little upper. He's going down, half of the frame he is down. And his background can also be, but it is fine, it is a natural thing, so he can be at a better place. Background is also, some cluttering is there, a lot of things are lying. So otherwise, very cheerful. So posture wise, little improvement is needed. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Vikram Basin.
My friends from the army will think कि अनिल गोस्वामी ने उसकी virtual cabin covered कर दिया. So, for the benefit of those who didn't understand what is cabin covered, would somebody like to explain? Anyway, I'll tell you that in the academy, NDA, IMA, हमारा जो room होता था, that was called a cabin, and cabin covered meant a cabin inspection. So the inspecting officer would come, and his whole job was to find as many mistakes as he could. Okay, and he would just touch his hand and say, "See, dust." And normally, जब ज़्यादा नखरा करना होता था, they used to take a white hanky, and then he'll go and do this, and then do this. कि देखो, see the dust here. Okay. Or you find fault with the shoes not lying properly, or the laces. Shoes bhi theek pade hain, rack pe pade hain, but the laces are not properly straightened and all. So I think Anil Goswami went to that. Anyway, that was just in a light humor, no problem. Okay, guys, coming to this talk. Firstly, the moment he started, it was electrifying. I was absolutely like it caught my attention. I find that he was very energetic, extremely well articulated. Every word was very clear. Pauses were very appropriate. And I think good choosing of words as well. Good choice of words. Where I found things could have been better, I somehow started off with a very impactful state of mind, but I soon lost connection. I think he couldn't keep me engaged. He couldn't keep me engrossed because I didn't find that type of flow. I couldn't find any interest building up. Because if you really, if I look at, I did not get like there could have been some very important aspects coming out of what age is. So that probably was something that in the structure and in the content, I could have expected a little better flow and structure. The second thing, I expected, at least from Kamal, little more humor and being light. A subject like age, and I think it was sounding to me a little more serious than what it could have been. So maybe somewhere in 10 minutes, you can use a life story of 2-3 minutes to sometimes tell something about an age. Because if I was to be giving a talk, I would have certainly used this little joke. And if I'm allowed to share, let me tell you, I came back from higher command course in Mau and came to Udhampur. I'd already been to Udhampur. I went from Udhampur to Mau and came back to Udhampur. So I was very fond of children, and in the institute, in the club, there was a little girl who was playing around. She must have been about 12. And so I just walked up to her and I said, "Can I join you? Can I also play with you?" She said, "Uncle, but you're so old." So I said, "How old are you?" She said, "I'm 12. I said, "You are 12 and I'm 48. So you are 12 years old, I'm 48 years old. We are both old, only numbers are different." Okay, now something like this could have, brought about a little bit of humor and little bit of where you talk about age not matter. You could have given some examples of people who everyone would know. Could be a film star, could be somebody, could be anyone, could be a cricketer, could be somebody we know, where you say that, look at this guy, does he look his age? Does he behave his or her age or whatever? So some type of examples or some type of humor would have made the thing more interesting.
Sorry for interruption, sir. I had this list of names in my list with me, but I knew the time shortage, so I didn't take them on.
Yeah.
I had a couple of names with me.
But somewhere, see, in 10 minutes, you could have devoted at least 2 minutes. So out of all your content, 2 minutes could have been programmed to cover something. It would have made the thing more interesting. Another thing I loved was a couple of his sentences were very powerful. I loved this adding candles to your birthday cake. Beautiful. I think it was an expression which I would, really appreciate. When he said that it is not counting your years, but but how every year counts. What does that? Just say that again. Oh, he has to refer to his notes. You're mute. You're mute.
We don't have to count our age in years. We have to make those years count.
Okay. Yeah, that was a good one. And another, in the end, I think he is very impactful by saying measure of infinite opportunity. So the starting and the ending were very good. I always say that start with an impact, end with an impact. So that was very good. Overall, I think it was very good. It was engaging, and I would grade it any day outstanding speech. With only basically, if all that I said was, you could have made it a little more interesting, looked a little serious, and I would have certainly liked to see you at least smile once, Kamal.
I think I had prepared a smile for myself when I wanted to say 60 still young. So at that point, but then I think I was running out of time again.
So sometimes, okay, let me say this to everyone, and probably something that everyone can take as a lesson. See, time becomes an excuse for me, or a reason, I'll say, not an excuse, a reason, when I'm suddenly told to speak and I'm told that you've got only 10 minutes. Or when I'm told that you have 30 minutes, and it's happened with me a couple of times, where I've been told, "Sir, sorry, we are running late. Can you finish off in 30 instead of 45? Now you're prepared for a 45-minute speech, and on the stage you have to convert it to a 30-minute speech. Okay. then I can say that there was a problem. But when you are preparing a speech for 10 minutes, then you must prepare your content, delete 1 or 2 points, but see that your pauses, you shouldn't be looking like hurrying because you have got shortage of time. वो जैसे भाग रहा हूं मैं ट्रेन पकड़ने के लिए, वो नहीं होना चाहिए. So that you have to avoid. So which means it has to be structured, it has to be planned. Okay. Another thing is when we are giving feedback, there is no what do you call explanation. It's just to say thank you. Take whatever it is worth, because we are not. It is only, and when I give a feedback, I'm particularly doing it with an angle that it's not only to help Kamal, it's also to help everyone. And by the end of today, I will leave with you, and probably I'll make a document out of it and share with you, which will be for everyone's help. As to, I've made a little list out of all my experience as to what can you grade people. If I have to, like, if you have to comment, or I have to, today we are not assessing, but sometimes there's a competition and you want to assess people, you want to give marks. I'll tell you how to do that. And I'll tell you what the audience expects. So it'll be a very good template for you to know that these are the type of things the audience is going to look forward to. And that's a list I have in front of me. So I look at that and give you comments. Thank you. Anil, you are mute.
My apologies. Our next speaker this evening is Dr. Shallu Sehgal. She's a management postgraduate, specializes in finance and information technology, a qualified UGC NET, and holds a doctoral degree in the area of evaluation of merger and acquisition strategies and post-merger performance of selected companies in auto component sector. Wow. Presently working as associate professor in management department at the Schulen University in Solon. She has been awarded with Preeminent Innovator Education Award 2020 and Educator Award 2021 from the Government of India, MSA. She's going to be speaking to us on humility. Over to you, Shallu.
Thank you, Anil sir, and thank you, everyone. Namaste, namaskar.
Can we, sorry, just a minute. Can we put the speaker on spotlight? It becomes easier.
I'm in this position, so Haleema, please.
You can start again. You can start. We'll give you another time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Thank you. So I'm starting in. Thank you, Anil sir. Namaste, namaskar. We greet people daily with folded hands without giving much thought. Namaste is a simple gesture in which we hold our hands together close to our chest, palms facing each other with fingers pointing upwards. This posture is also known as Anjali Mudra. In our culture, this gesture is very common, but has a profound meaning. It literally translates to the divine in me, bows to the divine in you. But most of the times in our daily hustle, we fail to acknowledge it. Namaste is the most humble word, and it's the most humble way to greet other individuals. And on a completely other scale, while greeting someone with namaste instead of shaking hands, we can keep our germs to ourselves. Friends, humility is an underrated quality that is not touched upon often. It is something mentioned heavily in religious texts, and it may seem a little old-fashioned, but it is a quality that is absolutely required in this day and age. Humility has been defined in many ways by different people, but I think it's a feeling, emotion, and an attitude that we have in us. Let's look at it another way. A person who lacks humility is arrogant. It is a person who only thinks of oneself and sees one as better than others. But friends, there is no room for arrogant people to improve themselves because they do not recognize their flaws. A person who is not humble does not have the value and respect for others. They don't recognize their flaws. They don't have the growth mindset. In the span of my life, I have seen that our culture taught us so many things. And one thing, that on external accomplishments like appearance, self glory, self image, self talk, self praise. But these things are short lived at best. But even a small display of this quiet virtue can make one feel like a sinking man coming up for air. But the question comes, why is it so challenging for us to express humility? Is it because we often misinterpret its active demonstration to be a sign of weakness? But I know that we all believe it is an indication of tremendous inner strength. And it's my personal experience, and I know most of us have the same feelings as I have. Whenever I meet someone who radiates humility, my shoulders relax, my heart beats a little more quietly, and I feel comfortable to express my thoughts. This is maybe because I know I'm being fully seen, heard, and accepted for who I am, without any pretense. Every human is capable of humility, but majority of us don't express it. But I feel showing humbleness or compassion should not require any reason. It should come naturally to all, without any reason, without any occasion. We all should inculcate these three words in our life. Just be humble. Let me share 3 points which we all should keep in our mind while conversation or otherwise in our life. First, embrace your humanness. For many, for many of us, when we fail at something that is important to us, like a job or relationship, our self-esteem plummets because we tied our self-worth to those things. All of a sudden, we become bad or unworthy people. And my dear friends, it can be a long road to recovery. But not so for people with humility. Because their ability to withstand failure or criticism comes from their sense of intrinsic value of being human rather than outer means. So when they fail at a task or don't live up to expectation, it doesn't mean that there is something wrong with them. It just means that they are human like rest of us. Second, practice mindfulness and self-compassion. These two key words, mindfulness and self-compassion, have been linked to greater psychological resilience and emotional well-being. And I can't imagine developing humility without these two words. Even scientists say humble people have an accurate picture of themselves, both their faults and their gifts. Mindfulness grows our self-awareness by giving us permission to stop and notice our thoughts and emotions without judgment. The more we become aware of our inner lives, the easier it is to see where unhealthy beliefs and action might be limiting us. Once we accept what needs changing, then we can start the process of transformation. Here I would like to share a quote from a wise sage, which goes like, if you are in a dark room, don't beat the darkness with a stick. Rather get up and turn on the light. In other words, just gently and patiently replace a negative thought or action with a positive one. Third, and I believe this is the hallmark of humble people, express gratitude. Saying thank you means that we recognize the gifts that come into our lives and in return, acknowledge the value of other people. Very simply, gratitude can make us less self focused and more focused on those around us. Now, I would like to wrap up my talk with a short story which touched and inspired me. The story is about Mr. Poonawalla, who is well-known Parsi businessman in Pune. Please just try to paint a picture of him in your mind. There will be good feeling. Parsiwala had a driver named Gangadat, who had been with him for last 30 years on his limousine. Mr. Poonawalla was in Mumbai for some important work when he got a call that Gangadat had passed away. As soon as he heard the news, he cancelled all his meetings. And he requested Gangadat's family to wait for him for the cremation. And he immediately flew back to Pune in a helicopter. On reaching Pune, he asked the limo to be decorated with flowers as he wished Gangadat to be taken in the same car which he had driven since the beginning. When Gangadat's family agreed to Poonawalla's wish, he himself drove Gangadat from his home to the ghat on his last journey. When few of his friends asked about it, Mr. Poonawalla replied that Gangadat had served him day and night, and this is the way he can express his gratitude to Gangadat. His comment in the end is the essence of the successful life in all aspects. Friends, always remember, everybody earns money, and there is nothing unusual in that. But we should always be grateful to those people who contribute to our success. This is the belief we have been brought up, and I know we all would have done the same like Poonawalla. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Shallu. Kapil,
Sure. I think another very powerful session, and I could understand why Brigadier Saab said, let's first do the screen right, spotlight, because I think you were right with on the screen. You made a lot of hand gestures, and you did use the entire space at times to emphasize a point. I can only feel that because I have to give a feedback, and there's certainly always an opportunity, the tonality ups and downs, there was a because you were already doing great. I'm just talking, it could have been greater. The voice vibrations were a little more wider. Means there's a tonality goes up and down, but otherwise you were an experienced one, so you did great. Thank you.
Anil Goswami, please.
Thank you. I found very impactful, very engaging, even visual when I was looking frame and her body posture excellent. So she was also giving in between some pauses also. She was also narrated one story also, and most of the things I found excellent. And yes, and she was also using posters. That was the add-on. I think this is the first time among the all speakers which I could find she used these posters also. So I am trying to find out what point should I tell so to for improvement, but overall outstanding. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brigadier Basin.
Okay. Overall, a very good speech. Shallu, you can now rightfully call yourself a good speaker. It was absolutely high class, I would say. Now, couple of things we always want to see, because no speech is perfect, and you always want to see if you can go a little higher. The subject was good. Maybe at the beginning I thought that you could have picked up a more interesting subject, because it, if I'm asked to speak on humility, then it was very good. But why humility? Because when you're asked to choose a subject of your choice, you also have the choice of picking up a subject that will arouse more interest. Here it was, everything was very nice, informative, but there was nothing that would tell me that, oh, I never knew it earlier, or, something which was totally alarming. So when you get an opportunity like this, also see that can you leave the audience awestruck? यार ये तो मैंने कभी सोचा भी नहीं था. So that type of, something which people have never heard before, that is when it comes to choosing of the subject. But having chosen this subject, you did very well. I found that your delivery was very good. Your energy management was very good. I love the way you went up and down. That was very impactful. And of course, you maintained a very good frame and all that, which has already been covered. However, a slight thing that I would like, I don't know whether it's a universal rule or not, but something that to me looked like that if you sit like this, it is better to sit a little back, right? Because it gives, actually, it is equivalent to what we say on the stage, a closed posture. There's an open posture and a closed posture. Closed posture actually brings down the energy for the person who's viewing you. You may feel fine. Your energy is not going down. I don't know how many of you felt, but I thought that, resting your arms and sitting like this online, not recommended. Right? Okay. A very minor thing, which some of you may even say stupid, but right now it is okay. Shallu, throughout your 10 minutes, I did not see your eyes, because there's a big glare in your specs, big glare. So if you think you could have done without it, it's good. If you couldn't, you can see a video and you will find that there was absolutely 2 rectangles of a white mark here, which was glow. I don't know how many of you noticed that. This will not happen on the stage. These are the virtual graces that you have to cater for. Okay, now it's looking perfect. Now I'll tell you, Shallu, at the moment, your facial expressions will be 10 times better because of your eyes being, it was something like, you see a face where a person is wearing a mask or sunglass, those glasses, aisa laga. Because your eyes were covered with that glaze. Okay. That was something that hit me like something like it would have been better. Like now you could have put your specs there and required only to read if required or something. But yeah, that could have been done. Okay. Right from in the beginning, and about 3-4 times I noticed that sometimes in your flow, you ended up with words which faded away. Okay, which means that, sometimes when your sentence ends in a word that was not heard. So the first sentence when he said, humility is an underrated quality. And then when the sentence finished, the last one word I didn't hear. It had gone down too low. It happened 3 times. 3 times it happened that your word in the end, Gangadhar was not heard first time because you said again. So when you said Poonawala and all, and he had a driver called Aage nahi samajh mein aaya. Then you said when he got the news that Gangadhar had expired, then I got to know the name of the driver. Right? Okay. happy to use use a quote, but when you use a quote, you must give the authority. Whose quote? अगर वो किसी का भी quote नहीं है, anonymous है, तो say it's an anonymous quote, because quote has to go with the name of the person. You're quoting somebody. Quote means you're quoting somebody, but who's that somebody? I don't know. So that's a rule, that if you quote, give the name of the person, whether in writing or verbally. The words, when you use very emphatic thing, you say like humility cannot be identified or cannot be known without the words mindfulness and compassion.
Compassion.
And that is the time mindfulness, compassion could have come up. It would have added a little more, because the word would have, words, when they're visual, they stay back.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody would know why I've got sales here and why not some other word. Somebody in the audience will know why. Okay. Right. With this. So now I'll wrap up with a story.
Yeah. No.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. Just say, I'm reminded of a story, or I'm reminded of an incident. Because, when you say, I'm going to tell you a story, I'm going to tell you a joke, uska surprise element khatam ho jata. Okay. So, and the story was good, very powerful. But although Poonawala may not have said it, but I would have loved to use a sentence. Entire life, Gangadhar was driving me. I thought today I'll drive him. He was a driver. So you said he drove his dead body to the car, to the ghat. Isn't it? You said that or no?
Yeah, I said Mr. Poonawala said that he served me day and night. So this is my time to express my gratitude to God.
Yeah, but I'm saying you could have said he drove me all my life. I drove him back.
Yes, it was the last that I wanted to take him for his last journey to Ghat.
But you didn't say, I'm saying you should have played on the word drive. He was driving me all my life. I drove him back.
Yeah, while narrating for YouTube, I will definitely.
It's the same thing, but I think you would have played on that word drive.
But
okay, thank you very much. I think overall it was.
Thank you so much. This is wonderful feedback. Let me tell you, one by one, each and every word you just heard, and you explained and told me how to speak next time. Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome.
And thank you for this also. So, my third, I told that we should be thankful for each and everything. And seriously, I believe in this third. This is a hallmark of humility. I believe in this. Always feel gratitude and tell everyone thank you. That's all from me. Thank you, Anil, sir.
Thank you, Shallu. The last speaker for this session of talks is Dr. Haleema Sadia. She's an extremely empathetic person, dedicated to facilitate people in improving their lives. Active participant in humanitarian causes gives her an edge towards public speaking and communication, and the portfolio of action for deprived women in society. A conviction with regard to potential of teachers to excel is very strong and firm, the basis of her training that she conducts. She's going to be speaking to us on World Without Boundaries. Over to you, Dr. Haleema.
Thank you, Anilji. My dear friends, he was from China and I am an Indian. He used to make me laugh, wipe my tears, hug me tight, watch me succeed, see me struggle, help me strive, and keep me strong. He promised to make me happy. everything was fixed and we all were excited. We were excited to solemnize our relationship. As it is said, there is no more lovely, friendly, and charming relationship, communion, or company than a good marriage. Yes, a perfect good marriage was planned. Suddenly, a war broke out between India and China. The borders were sealed, flights were cancelled, and the travel were not possible. The dreams shattered. With a broken heart and incomplete marriage, I thought, why? Why this has happened to my best friend? Ladies and gentlemen, why? Just because of the borders and boundaries of the countries we have created? Whenever they smell any conflict, they just close the borders without realizing the feelings and the emotions of the millions of citizens. Not fair. Not fair at all. I am here to speak and advocate of a world without boundaries. Ladies and gentlemen, the research says that world military spending rises to almost 2 trillion in 2020. Total global military expenditure rose to 1,981 billion last year, an increase of 2.6% in real terms from 2019. This is the data as per Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. Now, look at the ugly picture of the globe. More than 5.7 million children under 5 on the brink of starvation. The world is facing the biggest global hunger crisis of the 21st century. And here we are spending trillions and trillions on border safety. If we talk about our own nation, our own beloved country, India, the total defense budget is rupees 4,78,195.62 crore for the year 21-22, which is 13.73% of total central government expenditure. On one hand, people are starving and dying. And on other hand, there is so much expenditure on our borders. Can we spend this amount, this money, these trillions of money for the betterment and the welfare of the people of the world? Today, the world has so many global issues, like global environmental issues, overconsumption of resources, overpopulation, too many people for the planet to sustain, biodiversity loss, deforestation, desertification, global warming, climate change, habitat destruction, and many more. Now, dealing with these serious issues at an individual nation level is like having an umbrella, and that umbrella has many holes and it's raining heavily. We expect that if we close one hole very near to us, is going to protect us. I believe that you all will agree with me that only closing one hole that is nearest to us is not going to save us from rain. We have to close all the holes. Similarly, we have to think about the global issues. It has to be solved at global level. The entire world is an umbrella. If our neighboring countries are not serious about the issues, then naturally our own country is going to be affected with the consequences. If we are serious about these issues, then we have to remove the borders and we have to rise upon hyper-nationality. Imagine a global world where there is no barriers, no boundaries, and there are no restrictions for visiting other countries. Ladies and gentlemen, let's try to find out who built the boundaries and who invented the first passport. To my knowledge, when Adam and Eve came from the paradise on this earth, there was no passport system. Was there any boundary at the time? You all will agree with me. It's all men created. It's not the idea of the creator, the supreme power who has created the whole universe. This is the concept. The concept of the worldwide passport isn't actually that old. In fact, the system began less than a century ago after World War I in 1920. When the war was over, the many nations thought of their peace and of their safety, how to maintain it. And in this way, the passport system and the boundary system is strengthened. Now, we tend to think as if that borders and boundaries are always existed. But of course, the idea of borders and the idea of having boundaries is very recent phenomena. It's just something that emerged really in just last few hundred years. And in many worlds, it is just 50 years or 75 years since World War II. When any country joins UN, they have to agree to respect the territorial integrity and sovereignty of the other member states. In this way, they accept that there are borders, there are boundaries. My question is, if we can impose the limitations and boundaries on us, can't we work upon demolishing on them? Can't we remove these boundaries and borders once again, as it was a few hundred years ago? Now, what is the benefit? Why I am advocating for this? See, if we really want the progress of this world, it's only possible when we think globally, because the entire universe is like a body. If any parts of the body hurts, it feels in the entire body. The world is like a body. If any part of the world, if any country suffers, the effects can be felt in other countries. So, ladies and gentlemen, now let's look at this perspective. Now let's look at the issue with another perspective. See, not all the places in the world is equally distributed with the bounties of nature. Some places are richer in wealth, and this variation in wealth and income created by these differences are even magnified by the governments of different countries. When I am advocating for the open borders, I make a strong moral argument that the person's life choices should not be determined by the place where he is born. Let him have the freedom of cultivating the crops of his own hard work and of his own talent, irrespective of his birthplace, nationality, or any other basis. I myself have witnessed, on the same position, with the same qualification, with the same work profile, with the same designation, some people get higher salary than others because of their nationality. Can we justify this? This has to be addressed, and we all have to ponder upon this. Now imagine if we are given the luxuries and all facilities and kept in a cage. Can we prefer the golden cage over the freedom of movement? I believe your answer is big no. Freedom of movement is a basic human right. Thus, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights belies its meaning, belies its name when it proclaims the right only within the borders of each state. We can freely move only within our country, within our nation. Human rights do not stop at the border. Nation states are relatively recent concept, while migration and moving from one place to another place is as old as humanity. Borders explore to restrict the basic human custom for the distinct purpose of excluding some and privileging others. These borders are not simply borders. They are not simply set the boundaries of the country. They set boundaries for its people too. They are metaphors for how we might imagine other human beings and how we treat them in this world. Believe me, my dear friends, immigrants or immigration is not a problem. But yes, of course, borders are a big problem for sure. We don't know what the future holds, but if we don't fight for it, it will not perish. We have to raise the issue. Let me share some good news here. You see, in the virtual world, there is no discrimination. We can meet anyone, we can interact with anyone, we can visit anyone. So why can't this virtual world can be transformed into the real world?
Dr. Haleema, you have 1 minute to go, please.
I firmly believe that one day we can travel from Alaska to Japan, from Sri Lanka to Russia without any limitations and restrictions. I dream that one day I will fly like a butterfly to every nation, every country, wherever I want, without any restrictions and without any boundary. Ladies and gentlemen, let us change this. Let us change this line. Hindi hai hum watan hai, Hindu sita hamara. To this line, Hindi hai hum watan hai, sara jahan hamara. We are Hindi and the whole world is ours. This is my dream. And today, in front of August's audience, I establish my voice for it. I appeal you to support me. Will you support me to make this world a better place for you, for me, and the entire humanity? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Haleema. Anil Goswami, please.
Thank you very much. The positive thing I found is the frame and her posture very good. But most of the time I was seeing she was probably looking down and reading this is what, and she needs to improve. She has to be more engaging toward the audience and look toward us and see and give little pauses. You know, she was going with a great speed, and I will say she was more impactful than required. Her pitch was, you know, of course, she was very energetic, but sometime energy level was more than it required, and sometime she should go down also. Okay, so and story also, some impactful story she could have told. And one thing more I would like to, the sequence of the whole 10 minutes, you know, some lines she was repeating again and again, like expenditure she was pronouncing in a different way. And she needs, though overall it is very good, some improvements are still needed. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you.
Kapil, please.
Thank you. I think most of the feedback Anilji has already given, so I will not say it again. But overall, a great speech. And I think it's today we have a lineup of really very celebratory speakers. So thank you for that. It was an experience. Only one thing that I can say is that probably you've taken care of your surroundings, but maybe the position of the light could be a little different, because the light is interfering with your specs. So, and it is giving a reflection. That's the only thing that came to my mind, so I thought I'll share with you. Great. Thank you for the contribution. Thank you.
Basin, sir.
May I speak just for a second, sir? बाकी सब कौन सी स्पेक्स यूज कर रहे हैं? मेरे में क्लियर था, हलीमा मैम के भी था. Why? I mean, I don't know. बाकी rest I cannot see. Like
Shallu ji, we can see reflection. You see, when you remove the eyes, it is very sweet and natural eyes. So, and when you wear the eyes, probably you want to read something again and again, and that lacks your confidence also. And the light, probably you have to improve this thing when the light is reflecting. Totally, two frames are coming. Your eyes are not visible when you wear this specs. We can't see your eyes. That natural thing is missing. Thank you.
And my question was something else, sir. आपने समझा नहीं.
हाँ, नहीं
मेरे
समझा.
classes
चलो,
में
चलो.
clear है, आपकी class में नहीं है. चलो, anyways.
Chalo, thank you, thank you.
Actually, we have to learn everything by heart and then deliver without aspect. That is the solution.
That is the only solution. You can read points.
Yes, Sushil.
And
Yes, true.
Beggar Basin, sir.
Okay. Firstly, congratulations to Anil Malik for picking up the best 3 speakers on the last day to give a good grand finale to the entire series. I think today all the 3 speakers have been very good, and Haleema, I would say that in this entire series, I would put you as one of the top speakers. You did very, very well. It was very impactful, very and the subject was very intriguing. It was very, very, I'll say, a powerful speech, left a very strong message. You also got the support of people, and of course, you had a very humane angle to the whole thing. So to that extent, good selection of subject, good purposeful speech leaves a big taste behind. Okay. I had to rush to the washroom. When I came, you had just started. So I really thought what Anil was trying to say, and I'll put it a little differently. I thought that you were, like your hands were also here. And I thought probably there was some prayer. It was a big impactful prayer in the beginning, which is going to create an impact. But I found that remained like this throughout. So I'll tell you what it looked like. So I don't know, because earlier also in Shallu's time, I wanted to do something, but I couldn't do it. Just a minute, where has it gone? Just 1 second, I'll get you back. Yeah. If you can see, this is what it looked like.
Oh.
You were looking like, so you must get a video. The entire thing, you can see this is what your pose was. You were not like looking into the camera. So there was without your, and I've always been saying in TTOT that what you think you are looking is not what you're looking. So you have to even if you want to know on your own camera, when I see myself, it is better that I take a video or a screenshot and then see the screenshot. It looks different. It looks different. So I'm sure that if you see your video, you would have not believed that this is what you were looking at. All the throughout.
Actually, I was reading. That is the thing.
Okay. Guys, let me tell you one thing. In a speech, particularly 10 minutes, reading is out of question. Out of question. Mugging up is not recommended, but some portions have to be mugged up. Some portions which are very impactful. So when I was doing this course with Sam Cawthon, I asked him a question, because I am a speaker who loves to speak from his heart. And when I'm speaking from my heart, I cannot have a structured speech, because a structured speech where your script has been written, how can you have a structured speech unless it's mugged up? And the moment it is mugged up, your mind plays a dominant role and not your heart. And then I'll tell you what, when a speech is very well prepared and scripted, the audience comes to me. The audience knows that this is not a natural flow. So I would recommend, something like what Narendra Modi speaks, something like what Indira Gandhi spoke. They always appear to be, even if they were prepared speeches, they came from the heart. Okay. All these politicians and leaders would get somebody to write a speech for them. But tell me, if during this ISRO, what is that? The last event we had, what is it called? I'm forgetting. Abhi kya? Abhi jo ISRO ka last year, when we had that failure of our mission.
Yeah, the moon landing.
What is that called?
Chandrayaan.
Chandrayaan. Yeah, Chandrayaan. Okay. I'm telling you about Chandrayaan. I don't know how many of you were watching, but it was almost 2:33 a.m. that when that climax came where you said now it's only 1.5 minutes left for them to land, and then that spot didn't change, and then there was utter confusion. I don't know whether you saw, but I was there till about 2:33, and then Narendra Modi was there till 3 o'clock, and then he left, and he left very gracefully and all that. And 8 o'clock he was back in ISRO giving a talk. Could that be mugged up? Could that be written by somebody else? Because if 3 o'clock he left the place, he would have gone to his hotel or wherever he was staying. Could have taken some time, even if 10-15 minutes. Next morning he would have had to get ready and come back. And at 8 o'clock he gave a speech. If some of you missed that speech, go to YouTube and find it out. It was impactful. It came from his heart. So reading, I would not recommend. If at all, what I do in my talks, like TEDx, you can't read. No way. So if you're preparing for an 18-minute speech, how would you say, 10 minutes, I can't remember a speech. So you will have to do that. At the best, what you can do is take a, like on my screen here, right on my screen, I put a thing where I just have 4 or 5 words written, maximum. That I know the next point is. That's it. So I don't miss the sequence. But you can't, so I asked Sam Cawthon this. I said, you say that you have to have a structure. You also say you should speak from the heart. So you know what he said? He says the beginning and the end, which is supposed to be very impactful, has to be mugged at, has to be from your mind. Doesn't matter. It has to be so much from your heart and so much mugged up that it is a combination of heart and mind. But when it comes to the metaphor, it comes to the main substance, that story that you're going to give, that can be totally from your heart. Then you don't have to write that story. You have to rehearse it so that you have to time it, but you don't mug it up. So that is the way. And many people have many ways of doing it, but you have to follow what is the audience being impacted. Audience shouldn't feel it was a mugged up speech. Audience should, and reading continuously, so bilkul out of question. Out of question. Then it is a paper reading contest. You have paper reading. There's a difference between a speech and paper reading. The only time when you're allowed to read is when you have a quote. In that quote, if you say, and I will quote, and even if you pick up and read it, it's okay. Because quote is not supposed to be mugged up. Okay, so basically that. Otherwise, it is very good. Minor issues in your language. If you go and see, you can have trillions of rupees, you can have trillions of dollars, you can have trillions of money. You can have abundance of money, but you can have trillions of money, because money is not something that has an account, that is a measure. Okay. What is that? There's something else which you said you fumbled at this. You fumbled twice at that, look at the issues of another perspective. So that you got a little mixed up and then you repeated it. So that was a little, but that can happen. That is nothing. I mean, we are looking at perfection. We are saying these things. Otherwise, it's a minor issue. But overall, I think I must compliment you for an exceptionally good talk. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Well, first of all, gratitude to all those who took part in this session for the last 5 weeks. But my special gratitude to the mentors who supported this mission, particularly to Brigadier Basin, Anil Goswami, Kapil Chabra, for all the time that he's been supporting it. Nara, Kamal Mehta, all of you for this support. And what I noticed was that every step was one greater leap than the last one. what is nice is people took note of the feedbacks that was given. And that feedback, I think we've now produced 20 or 22 very powerful speakers at the end of this thing. I think there can be no greater satisfaction and no greater achievement than to see 20 of you tomorrow standing on international stages, because each one of you have shown that caliber. So I wish you all the very best success. Thank you. Grateful once again to all the mentors for their guidance. Thank you, sir. Kapil, yours.
One suggestion, can we have all 22 speakers one day as a seminar type of thing or something like that?
You want to celebrate? You want to celebrate?
Yes, all 22 speakers speaking together, we can invite other people to listen.
I'm sure the won't be, maybe there are so many commitments people have, but we'll definitely try put across and see how it can be worked out. Thank you for your suggestion, Dr. Haleema.
Thank you very much.
Our gratitude to Anil Malik sir. So for conducting program and conceiving this program, we are so grateful for such a structured program, and people got a lot of experience and confidence. Thank you. God bless you. God
Thank
bless
you very much. Thank you.
Brigadier Sushil Basin also. So he invested his time. So we are grateful, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, and thank you, General Malik. I think very good initiative, and I'm really glad that it became so powerful. So thank you, very well conceived and very well regulated. Thank you so much, and really appreciate that. And thank you, Brigadier Hasim, for your feedback sessions. Thank you. We all learned a lot. Thank you.
Kamalji, you are one of the best speakers. You are saying you have never, first time you are speaking, you are a wonderful speaker. Wonderful.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you all. Good night. Been wonderful session.
What is the next course of action?
Yeah.
What is the next course of action?
Brigadier Basin wants to say something, so let's.
We are 16 people here now. I have a very strong suggestion, and I want to know how many of you are prepared to accept it after I've said, of course, because otherwise you'll say, "Pata nahi tum kya bolne wale ho." I don't know about others, but at least these 16 could do it today. Before you go to sleep, and whether you are a guest like Sudhanshu and others, I see Anil James after a long time. Anil, nice to see you, not see you, but have your presence. I think you are there, but I don't know whether you're there. I will be very happy if each one of you write down, if you have not done earlier in the other sessions, all that you have learned, not only from your own speech, but from any other speeches. And if somebody has been writing these notes from the beginning till now, you would have enough material to write a book on public speaking. It has been so powerful. Now, if you want to get the juice out of it, if you want to get the essence out of all that has happened, then each one of you can share a few things that you have learned throughout the session, whether you attended one meeting or all meetings or whichever, and share it in the TTOT community group. Bullet points. I learned an A, B, C, D. Could be 4 points, 5 points, 6 points, 10 points, whatever. Could be 2 points. And make it very crisp and say, in the public speaking, whatever you called it, whatever name it is, I don't know. Just say in this complete series, I picked up the following. From whom we don't care whether you picked it up from your own feedback, from other people's feedback, but just write down that what all did you learn by investing your 1.5 hours 5 times. And that can be, and we collate it and put them together, make a little document, and you say this is TTOT's experience of public speaking. Then we would have culminated into not hearing, listening, and going away. And that could also be helpful to each one of us, whether you're there in all the sessions or not. Secondly, all those who want to be good public speakers, go to TED.com. If you have not done that already, we have already explained that earlier. Go to TED.com. In TED.com, you will get right in the beginning on the home page, it gives you a way of getting a TEDx talk into your email inbox every day according to the subjects of your preference. He allows you maximum 6 subjects. You can take 6, you can take 2, you can take 1, whichever one. And you will start getting the best of TEDx talks on those subjects. In your day's schedule, just fix half an hour every day for one TEDx talk. And when you have that, make notes, which I do. What was good in that talk? You'll pick up some ideas of the props they use. You'll pick up some ideas of an impactful start. You'll pick up an idea of use of humor, and keep writing down. One talk a day is 7 talks a week, is 30 talks a month. So you can't do 365. You'll do at least 200 to 50 talks in a year. You would have subconscious, and because it's consistent, you do 1 every day. You do 20 in a day, nahi, kuch nahi hoga. 1 every day, 1 every day. The power of consistency is such that you would have gained so much about public speaking than any other method. Thank you so much. I've done.
Thank you, sir, and thank you everyone for being here this evening. Look forward to more interesting sessions in the knowledge and community series. Thank you all. Good night.
Good night, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you for your feedbacks. We will, inshallah, do better.